Welcome to yet another lesson from Powerhouse Piano. This is Ian Hodge, and today's lesson is lesson number 14 from level 1, and we're learning four pieces, numbers 39 through 42, and you can download the music at powerhousepiano.com. Today's lesson we're introducing the bass clef. Now the bass clef is just an easier way to read the notes that go lower in pitch. And those first four notes that I highlighted there here are exactly the same four notes that are written in the bass clef. If you look very carefully at the first line of music, you can see I've introduced the bass clef sign. In other words, these two measures are exactly identical, exactly the same notes. What's different about them is where middle C is written. In the treble clef, middle C is written up below the staff or the stave. We add the little ledger line, and in the bass clef, middle C is written on the ledger line just above the staff or the stave. Your child needs to know this very thoroughly so that they have no trouble playing this music and reading the bass clef. Now the other thing I will highlight to the student is the fact that this note here in the top space of the bass clef is the note G, the one just below middle C. I want them to remember that space, because when they forget later on when they see different music, as long as they remember where the G is, they can count down lines and spaces and figure out what the note should be. Now that wasn't very hard. We're going to do that again. There we are, correct fingering this time. I got it right. So this is not very hard. It's just a matter of recognizing the bass clef and reading the notes. Let's look at this piece again. From the lower down position, left hand starts. I've taken it a little faster here. Your child can play it a little faster. They play it as fast as they like once they know it. The thing is to play accurately and in time. If your child can do that, then that is a great success, and they ought to be rewarded for being able to achieve that milestone in their learning career. Now the next piece, number 40. Again, it's all written in the bass clef, the left hand. And we just need to recognize that there are 3 quarter note beats in every bar, and you can see our little 8th note rhythm pattern there, and it's a repeat sign at the end of this one. So we're going to go 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again, there we want to highlight the middle C so that they know that that's middle C, and that's where their hand should be positioned ready to play. Okay, let's hear this and see what it looks like as well. Again, 3 beats in the bar, 3 beats in 3 quarter notes in every measure. Now from the upper view. These are just 4 little short pieces, just making sure your child can read the bass clef. Again, my hand's nice and relaxed. If you've forgotten what the rules are for moving your hands, go back and look at lesson number 1. When we get to lesson 18, I'm going to do a review of a number of things so that you can do a checkup with your child and make sure that your child's playing as best they can. Again, we're going to switch between the treble and the bass clef in this piece. It's 2 quarter note beats in every bar, and we have a B flat in this piece. And there's our bass clef introduced way down there in the second line of the music. You can see there that that's an A, the A just below middle C. And there's exactly the same A written in the bass clef. Exactly the same note there. So this should not be too hard for your child to recognize. There's the two G's, one written in the bass clef and the other one written in the treble clef on the top line. And there's the F's. See how the F's written in the treble clef on the top line, and on the in the bass clef it's on the second line down, and again we have a repeat sign. Just make sure your child reads these notes verbally before they try to play. Then when they put their hands on the keyboard, they should not make too many mistakes. The more mistakes they make when they're first learning to play, the harder it is to learn the piece accurately. And what we're trying to teach the child is to analyze the music before he or she starts playing. They need to learn to look at the music and recognize what's there, glance through the music, so that when they come to play it, they already know in advance some of the things that are ahead of them. Now, they won't remember them all, but when they read them as they play, it will be much more reliable. This is what good sight reading is all about, being able to glance over the music, find passages that perhaps are a little tricky, working out in your mind what they are before you even start playing them, so that when you sit and play, you have no trouble. I made a lot of money as an accompanist, and I paid for my, in my student years, I paid my way as an accompanist for singers. And it was because I could sight read very easily, very quickly, very fluently, because my mom made me learn a lot of music. She loved me playing hymns and things like that, and so that's what I did in my spare time when I wasn't practicing the pieces that my teacher gave to me. Here again, another piece, G major, and F sharp in the music, 3 beats in every measure. And again, we just need to recognize that that starting note is the G just below middle C. So in all these pieces, we haven't really been learning any new notes. We've just been looking at them so that they're visually different. There's an F natural, and when that F recurs later on, it's an F sharp. Just remember the natural sign. And there, when we play our G there, we're going to play it with the second finger. Then in the second line, we start the music on exactly the same note, but we have to shift our hands sideways so we can play with the 4th finger. No repeat on this one. With that in mind, let's go on number 42. We won't really get difficult rhythm patterns until we get in our level 2, and we're almost at level 2. We have all the background we need. Our reading should be very fluent. If we haven't read a note, we should recognize the lines and the spaces without too much trouble, so that the student can play them. My hand's not lifting very high there. It's a bad illustration for the students. I would expect them in their student years to be lifting a little higher than that when they're practicing, but I'm a little older. I've mastered most of these things, so I can be a little more relaxed, knowing that I'm lifting my hand up high enough to clear the notes. Now that's all your child needs to remember to do, is lift their hand to elevate enough to clear the notes. And if they learn to do that, then they'll have no trouble jumping around the keyboard very accurately at a later stage. That's it for lesson 14. I look forward to seeing you next time. If you'd like help with this lesson or any other lesson from Powerhouse Piano, just send me an email, ianhodge@powerhousepiano.com, and I'll get back to you to help you in every way that I can to make sure your teaching experience at home is a success for you and your child. And if you're looking for more teaching materials on Powerhouse Piano, go to our website, powerhousepiano.com, and there you'll find resources that can help you teach your child the piano at home successfully.